enjoy non-Ruby content, and this video is something that's really close to my heart. Because while a lot of people either got into Dragon Ball or like the whole Dragon Ball franchise a little bit later in life, whether Super was kind of like the introduction and they went back and watched Z after, the current season of Super ended or some shit. Um, For me, it was a combination of reading manga when I was a kid and before going to school, watching Dragon Ball Z on television every single morning before we went to school. Get up at like 7 in the morning, around 7:30, turning on like Cheese TV or Agro's Cartoon Connection, and there's Dragon Ball Z. You got half an hour to watch the episode, have breakfast, get your shit together, get to school, and you're waiting. Watch 5 episodes in a week, and then you're waiting till the next week to see what happens. And when something like the Namek Saga is like 100 episodes, where a fight with Frieza can be like 20 friggin' episodes, just imagine watching it week. 5 episodes a week. Um, but the topic of this video, given that I've been around, I haven't watched the original Dragon Ball. I never did watch the original. I've just read the manga of the original Dragon Ball. Um, and I'm pretty satisfied with that. I'm happy that I read the original Dragon Ball, learned how everything's set up, with Grandpa Gohan and everything. The first few tournaments, how he met Chi Chi, Krillin, the training, all that. Yeah, never got around to watching it. Just read it, but grew up with Z. I got all of Z and GT on DVD for fuck's sake, and that's because when they were released on DVD first. So I don't even have Blu-rays of that, and they're all signed by all different voice actors. Um, but beyond all this and how much it means to me, the Dragon Ball franchise is also that I've been able throughout my life to watch the evolution of Dragon Ball. Um, and I know what you're thinking. Oh my god, he owns GT on DVD. And it's like, well, when it came out, we just presumed that there wasn't going to be anything else. It was Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and that was it. So, as many flaws as GT had, we all assumed like this was it. This was the sequel we were gonna get. Uh we watched it, and don't get me wrong, GT is bad in a lot of ways, but it's like if I had to judge it, it's like 70% bad, but it has these 30% moments. There are these moments in the show that really shine through as if a lot of thought went into these specific parts of the show. Like, I did like the idea of the villain Baby, parasitical, taking over hosts. Then you're like, can we really kill the host if it's someone we know? I really like that idea of shit. It's stuff that's similar to like Majin Buu in a way, except different at the same time. The whole Super Android 17 was absolute garbage. That's the absolute. If I know there's other points in GT that are just like pointless, but out of the three main arcs, Super 17 is the absolute garbage of it. The Shadow Dragons have certain problems. Like, there's certain dragons that you just like you don't give a shit about. Only like three really play like a big role lore and story wise, and that's been Sin Shenron, Omega, and Nova Shenron. But it's a good example of an idea done right. It's like, and it's one thing that I've always I really like the Shadow Dragon idea, because one of the things that I actually hate in the Dragon Ball franchise is the lack of consequence for actions. It's like, but where we're at now with Super, and I will be getting into Super, is that, and it's in Z as well, because even the abridged series makes fun of it. There's no death. There's no death. I mean, going to the afterlife is a holiday. It's not a bad thing if you die and go to the afterlife. You keep your body, you go to the friggin' afterlife, meet King Kai, do some friggin' training, have a miniature holiday, and when you're ready, just, use King Kai to talk to your relatives, and they'll resurrect you back to life. It was really, it's really something I hate about the Dragon Ball franchise. Is just I don't see the point anymore of there being death. At least Majin Buu did one thing great, where he was just like, he could wipe out the galaxy instantly. He could wipe out the universe. He was actually a universal threat. There is no fucking afterlife with Majin Buu in Z. And the idea I liked about the Shadow Dragons is that the Dragon Balls can no longer be used as I'm gonna save my ass by resurrecting people. The Shadow Dragons were created because you abused how often you most likely rezzed people, and I mean not all the dragons were born from them rezzing people all the time. Other reasons came into it, but it was that idea that the Dragon Balls needed, after a wish was made, they require 100 years scattered to disperse the negative energy from making a wish before another wish can be made, and that's why it was supposed to take so long to find the Dragon Balls. Until Bulma, ironically, fucking fucks up the whole thing with the Dragon Raider. But I liked that. And the other aspect, which I want to explore, is I like the transformation of Super Saiyan 4. I'm a huge fan of Super Saiyan 4. I hate God. I hate Super Saiyan God, so whether it's the red version or the blue version, I hate both of them. I think Ultra Instinct is fucking stupid, because when you actually go into what Ultra Instinct's supposed to do, where you're supposed to be able to dodge everything with the defensive, and you're supposed to be just really fucking strong cunt when you're in the like attack version, then you perfect it so you can dodge everything but hit really hard. It makes no fucking sense. Ultra Instinct. It's one of the dumbest. That and the gods are just. I'm gonna explain before anyone that watches this rages out over me shitting on the transformations in Super. It's just that I believe that one thing, if they could ever, they're not going to. It's never going to happen. But if you're going to fix the Dragon Ball franchise in terms of power restrictions, have a limit to the Saiyans. I'm being dead honest. Put a limit on these fuckers. The idea that fusion came along and two people could fuse together to gain power, I don't mind that, because it's an ability with a time limit, so you shouldn't really be able to abuse that. It had restrictions on it. Kaioken used to have restrictions on it. It's like, you use it, the stronger you get, the more it's gonna fuck you up afterwards. This thing's gonna fucking kill you. And Super got rid of that. They're just like, oh, he perfected it, so he can abuse Kaioken. Um, I don't like the idea, like with the God energy, God key, keep it in the show, but have it that you have to actually be be what not the gods of destruction, either a god of destruction or what the fuck, the Kai. You have to be either one if you want to be able to use God key. This kind of gives us like an end game to the series, where it's like, if Goku or Vegeta might become a god of destruction in the future, that's the only way they're ever going to be able to use God Key. Just don't let the Saiyans have access to God Key at all. Because it gives the gods some feeling. At this point, you look at the gods of destruction, you look at the Kais, and you're just like, you guys are fucking nothing compared to the Saiyans. So how the hell are you supposed to police the universe when you're fucking weak ass cunts? That's what it comes down to. It shits on the limit of the universe. Because the Saiyans are just these ridiculous bullshit artists that pull random transformations out of their fucking ass. And they're never limited. And I think there should be a limit, if I'm being dead honest. As I said, I reckon there should be a restriction. As I said with Super Saiyan 4, Super Saiyan 4 actually kind of retconned, if you actually think about it, it actually retcons Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, and Super Saiyan 3. It gets rid of it because they only obtained those states, by not having a tail. And every single Saiyan in the past had a tail. And the legend of the Super Saiyan came from the past, where Saiyans had a tail. Even the flashback shows the Super Saiyan of legend transforming into a friggin' ape. Everything fitted. I actually believe that Super Saiyan 4 was Akira Toriyama's original freaking design that he came up with when he first even thought up of this friggin' concept. Which actually gives GT some more credit over friggin' Super. Super just seems like a massive fucking retcon in the end. Um, and I really thought when the Broly movie came out, it was the idea that we were going to see Broly, who would have a tail, be some kind of like primal Super Saiyan, just because he has his tail. Um, it just ties into the lore. It kind of makes Super Saiyan 4 not even stage 4 when you think about it. It's the fourth transformation that we see, but because they have the tail now and they're making the transformation, they're technically just a Super Saiyan. It's just Super Saiyan for them. The first stage of a new line. And I like that. So I'm giving GT some credit, and yeah, I'm only focusing there are things I like in Super, but I'm saying the moment Toppo becomes the next god of destruction, I reckon the clown one, he should have lost all his power, or even disappeared altogether, like just dis- either lost his power, disappeared, and that's Toppo being reborn as a god. But then again, he should not have been taking part in the tournament. The tournament in Super is actually really shit for the fact that so many rules get broken as long as Xeno is fucking entertained. So going into the tournament, you get all these goddamn rules, and you're like, oh, this is going to be hard. And by the end, you're starting to wonder, just fucking fly. I know you're not supposed to fly, but when you consider how many rules are broken throughout the tournament, if that idiot is going to be excited by you flying, if you can make him laugh by flying, Priest isn't going to fucking kill you because he's happy. It's stupid. It's really stupid. it it's weird. It's like Xeno is treated as the fan base, and it's like the creator of the show taking a jab at the fan base by saying you're all fucking idiots. As long as shit looks cool on the screen, it doesn't have to make sense because you assholes eat it up. Xeno's like a self-insert for fucking fans that don't want to admit that the Dragon Ball franchise has gone to shit. It's basically it. They're so flooded with nostalgia that they won't look at it logically and say, yeah, it's garbage. Some fans do. I know that Heavenly Controller on his channel just turns around. He got to the point even with Super where he's like, we're here for the cool fights. He goes, none of the lore, none of the transformations, none of this is entertaining. It's all fucking garbage. We're here for the fight choreography because they pour the budget into good fights every now and then. That's all it is, because that's how far the Dragon Ball franchise fell. But one thing I want to make in this 20-minute video, as I've gone on and I've said, oh, there was some good. There's obviously large part of GT was bad. It had its good moments. Super is a real horrible mess. It has its good moments, but it's very bad as well. Um, it's kind of like, where does the blame go? Like people, if you've seen my Ruby videos, it's like I'll blame the creators. Because straight out right, when it comes to Ruby, in the most part, it is the creator's fault. You can't be saying, "Oh, you have to respect and be nice to the creators," if they're the ones actually creating the show. If something bad happens in the show, if the show's low quality, bad, doesn't make sense, the creators did it. It's them accepting responsibility. So the same can be said for Dragon Ball in any case, except with while I do believe the studio that's currently making Dragon Ball is to be held responsible, as well as Akira Toriyama when he decides to get off his ass and be included in something, has to be held responsible as well. Given that Dragon Ball's pretty much been on TV for roughly about 20 to 25 years, there have been key moments. Two specific key moments that have kind of fucked. It's where it's the fans' fault. There were two moments in history of the Dragon Ball franchise where negative feedback from the fans actually resulted in the franchise being in the shit state that it is now. One of those moments was ironically during the break between the Cell games and the Majin Buu saga. Because at the time, and it's been stated in interviews, Akira Toriyama has said that at the time, Gohan was to be the new main character, as well as Vegeta. So we would have got a lot of Vegeta development, and Gohan would have been replacing his father. In which case, Goku being in the afterlife could have been a more permanent thing, with very rarely him showing up, or maybe talking to Gohan and Vegeta from the afterlife. That was an original idea and plan going forward. And I think this is not so much. I mean, it is going to be some of the Western audience, but this actually shows Japanese fans. I know that a lot of the negative feedback came from Japanese fans for this. They didn't like Gohan. And I don't know whether it was Vegeta as well, but I do know there was a hefty dislike for Gohan following the Cell saga because their hero Goku had died. So, in regards to Goku getting all the screen time that he did and being the number one hero, and Gohan being buried like a pathetic bitch, you can say the majority of it went to the Japanese fans' negative feedback after the Cell saga. That moment is perhaps the number one. Like I said, there's two moments, but the second one is really half bad. That really changed the Dragon Ball entire universe. Is that feedback from the Japanese fandom at the time? So yeah, look, anime Japanese not perfect. You could say they fucked the entire franchise with that negative feedback. Because what's one thing that you hear? It's a meme in the Dragon Ball universe. Gohan and Vegeta never get any good screen time. Vegeta is like the stepping stone where he shows a new ability and then Goku comes out and shows a better ability. Or Goku defeats the bad guy at 50% and then Goku defeats the bad guy at 100%. And Gohan, I really don't know how they justify, oh, because you're training, you actually get weaker. Like, when was that ever stated? I thought you climb to a new power level, you kind of stay there. It's your new power level. But no, apparently if you don't train, you get fucking weaker. It's like, Jesus, they really shit on him. The other negative thing I would say about the fandom was GT. Um, I get it. Like, even with Ruby, if I see something I like, I try to say, this was bad, this was bad, this was bad, this is good, this is good. I try to give the good where it is while balancing the bad. I actually, myself, am I'm not religious, but I have a fair amount of faith in karma. We like the good yin and yang, balancing the good and the bad. I have a tendency to do that a lot. And the fact is, after GT was created, there was no praise to Akira Toriyama or the studio on any good aspects of GT, and people just shit on it. Just shit on it completely. It was not like, oh, we like this, we like that. And it wasn't until years later when we got Super, when the manga started coming out, when the show started coming out, and we realized this stupid God transformation. Oh, Super Saiyan God with blue hair. Yeah, because turning from red to blue makes fucking sense through some fucking stupid bullshit. That people actually were like, holy shit, the Super Saiyan 4 actually made fucking sense. And this shit is garbage. It's like it took something worse coming along for people to actually appreciate what a good transformation was. And the ironic thing is that if you were to fix Dragon Ball, you could end Dragon Ball Super right now. Just end it. Just be like, we're not continuing it. And create something else. Create, I don't know, Dragon Ball. Call it Evolution. Call it anything. Come up with a new Dragon Ball franchise. And basically, what you have to do is take the premise of Dragon Ball Super with the God of Destruction, with the Kais, with the multiple universes. You take that concept and you take the concept of like the Shadow Dragons and Super Saiyan 4, maybe even the Tuffles if there's anything left over. You don't have to with that, but you take both, put them together, and you would legit have a good franchise. Honestly, start off with the Shadow Dragons as the first thing that kind of like fucks up the Dragon Balls. You don't have Dragon Balls anymore, and I don't know, kill off Goku. Honestly, just fucking kill the cunt off. He's in the afterlife permanently now, but he can still talk to people through King Kai and shit. And Gohan, Vegeta. Oh god, can you imagine if like Vegeta's training Trunks and Goten, and Gohan comes along and he's like, "I need you to train me as well." And as tough as he is on Goten and Trunks, he's even more tough on Gohan, and you just see him brutally training the fuck out of him. And then you get into the whole arc with the God of Destruction. Then you get Vegeta get like a hint at a new power up. Like he versus the God of Destruction gets his ass kicked, and Whis says, "Oh, I thought you guys were supposed to have tails. What happened to your friggin' tails? Oh, we got rid of them." And he goes, "Well, how the fuck are you able to go Super Saiyan without your tail?" "What do you mean?" "Well, in the past, your legend Super Saiyan, you need tail. So what is this shit you're doing now with gold hair? It makes no sense." Have stuff like that, and then Whis, is like, "You know what? If we can get you back your friggin' tail, and you go through the transformation of the Azaru, and if you're pure enough, imagine like Vegeta's able to do it. Like he's able to make it because he's of royal house and they're able to control their Ozaru. But Gohan, he's able to do it despite being a lower class because he's the hybrid Saiyan. He's half human. He's supposedly pure of heart. And imagine if he's a stronger Super Saiyan 4 than Vegeta. It's like, this type of shit can work. It's better than just watching Ultra Instinct and trying to make sense of what the fuck this stupid transformation is supposed to do. It's like, oh, what's God? He turns fucking red. It's basically like if Kaioken had red hair. That's God. How powerful he is? Who fucking knows? Power levels don't matter anymore. And what's Super Saiyan Blue? It's basically if he got yellow hair dye in his thing, but for some reason it doesn't turn orange, it turns fucking blue. It's dumb. We know. It's like all this shit was stupid. And for God's sakes, the one thing I would honestly do that honestly just fuck it. It doesn't sit right with me. Do not have the legendary Super Saiyans, aka Broly and Kale, don't have them perfect their forms. Especially with Kale, like when we saw her go from like bulky strong, oh now she's thinner and she has a pretty face and she loves and he's all lesbian and bullshit. I'm like, I don't care about let her be a lesbian. Good for her. But honestly, don't have him perfect this mode. This could be a link to the original Saiyan's primal side. Like the more animalistic type Saiyans. And someone's even done fan work saying that the original Super Saiyan in the past, you know, the Saiyan of legend, was this primal Saiyan. And it would be interesting if, like, Broly and Kale represented this link to this primal Saiyan. Like they're a different bloodline of Saiyan. And then you got the hybrid Saiyan with Gohan, who's got the humanity in him. And then you got Vegeto's, and Vegeta can go on the same line as Khalifa, where they're these high-ranking Saiyans of their world. You got different Saiyans. You're going into different breeds. It's better than different colored hair bullshit, people. But just beyond my thoughts on the series, I just want to do a video that wasn't Ruby. And honestly, the Dragon Ball franchise is one of the biggest shonen franchises in existence. And I just want to show that I don't like just because it's anime doesn't mean I'm gonna suck its dick. I'm not gonna say it's perfect. It's fucking great, even though I grew up with it and I like it. It's like I'm not gonna kiss its ass. And I wanted to point out that not only in this case is it the studio's fault for what's happened to the franchise, but it's also the fans' fault for what happened with the Dragon Ball franchise. The shit state that we're in with Super, where it's borderline garbage and people only watch it for fights, fight choreography, that's the only reason we watch Dragon Ball anymore, is because of shit that happened while this show was being made. And I think it is honestly for the Dragon Ball franchise. It's too late. They're currently with Super. They're on their third fucking reboot and well, third sequel, whatever the fuck you want to call the bloody shit at this point. And it's like they're getting worse. They're getting worse. As much as you shit on GT, it's just like I don't really care where this is going forward. Super isn't something that I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the next part to fucking come out. I don't care. I don't care. Even when I watched Dragon Ball Super Broly in the cinema, I was like, this is good fight choreography. But in terms of transformations and how strong someone's gonna be, this movie made no fucking sense. And this is how I want to end it. If you go back to the movie, you see Vegeta early on. He's Super Saiyan God for no other reason than, oh, you know what? Let's make him Super Saiyan God. So he's supposed to be on the level of God Key Super Saiyan. Gets his ass kicked. Starts off that he's strong, but he gets his ass kicked eventually, stating that Broly should be stronger than a Super Saiyan God. When Goku enters the battle, he starts off in his normal form and then he just switches to Super Saiyan, blonde hair. And for some reason, he's on par with fucking Broly. It's stupid shit. And then at the end, legendary Super Saiyan Broly doesn't land one fucking punch on Gogeta. In all honesty, the Broly movie should have been called Dragon Ball Super Gogeta. Because it was all about this con just fucking wrecking Broly at the end. Broly's legendary form really did nothing in this movie. So as much as people want to suck the dick of this franchise, I'm being fair with it. It's in a mess state right now, and it's both the fans and the studio's fault.